Alright, what we're going to do today is polish and wax, buff and wax the 85 C10. We're going to use some of that compound, see if we can get the color to come out a little more. I used cleaner wax on it about a year ago and got it to be a lot better, but it's still kind of dull, and then we'll follow up with some good wax. So the tan is actually decent, so I'm not going to use the compound on the tan. We're just going to use the compound on the red, and then we'll wax all of it. So we'll wax the tan, we'll wax the red, and just kind of give the whole thing a good wax to help protect the paint. The paint on this truck is I don't know, I would say it's in between, like, I don't know, to me it's not quite to the point of being patina, but it's to the point where, you know, if it's not polished and everything, it doesn't look good. So it's got a lot of issues, and I'll probably end up having to paint this truck because I don't think it's going to get to a patina stage before it starts showing some rust. It's just rust is starting to come up through the paint, especially on the tan. The red's actually decent except for where the paint has just been, you know, beat up from, you know, being used as a truck. You can see the bed rails, the paint's just it's not there. So, you know, this truck was used as a truck, so, you know, it shows signs of that. So what we can do though is try, you can see, I don't know if you can tell how dull the hood is, but it's very dull. You look at something like that and it looks decent, but it is, all of it's real dull. But there's just spots in the, like I said, especially in the tan, where there's rust coming through. So, you know, all that's gonna have to be addressed at some point. Wax will at least help keep the water from getting to it some. So we're just gonna try to make it look the best we can for now, and then at some point I'm probably gonna have to just sand this thing down and paint it. But this side, the bed rail is actually doing much better, and the reason for that, I think, is I think this whole bed side has been repainted. If you look, it's got Bondo over here. You can see where it's cracking, and then the paint, you know, there's a lot of paint damage over in this corner. You can see where the paint is flaking, and then the original paint is underneath it. So this side has had damage and it's been repaired, and that's why, you know, this bed rail looks so much better, as it's got 2 coats of paint on it. So we're gonna do our best to make this paint job last as long as it can, but you know, we're just buying time. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is use this 10-inch buffer to apply it, and then I'll use this 7-inch to to buff the wax off. So we'll apply it with this and buff it off with that. I did it by hand actually last time. I had both of those. I actually have 2 more. Another one of each, another 10-inch and another 7-inch. And I just did it by hand before. I don't know why. Well, for one thing, I didn't have any good covers and I didn't wash them, so I picked up some more. We've got a few of these fleece ones. We'll use those to buff it out once the wax is on. We use these terry cloth to apply the wax, or apply the compound. So, all right, let's get started. Well, I'm done compounding. I have not waxed yet, and I'm gonna say that that looks really good. What I ended up doing is I compounded it. After I compounded it, it still had some dull oxidized spots, and they really stuck out. So I actually tried some of that cleaner wax. I had some of that left, so I threw a quick coat. I was running out of time. We're on day 2 of doing this. I was running out of time, and I was like, well, I had cleaner wax left over, so I was like, maybe the cleaner wax will get the rest of the oxidation out, you know, and then I'll have my coat of wax on there. And so it's kind of like 2 steps and combining 2 steps into one. And it did not. It still left those oxidized spots. And so I ended up just compounding the whole truck over again, and not just those spots, because I was afraid, you know, I'm in the shade, so, you know, I've got, the lighting's not the best. You can kind of look at it closely and, you know, find spots, but I went ahead and just did the whole truck over again. So compounded it twice, and after I did that, you know, I said I wasn't going to do the tan. Well, then the tan looked very dull, so I went ahead and did the tan, compounded it out just once. So the red got 2 times compound, and I pretty much used up all my bottle of compound there, and then the tan got 1 time. And so now we're at the point where we're ready for wax. But I mean, if you take a look, this has got just, I mean, it really came back. I was surprised how much the paint came back. It's got a really nice shine to it and a really nice color to it. Of course, it's very flawed, you know. It's got scratches and nicks and sunspots and, you know, peeling, and, you know, it's got everything in it. But the spots that, you know, aren't, you know, it's got a really nice shine to it. So of course we got that damage over here, but I was just really impressed. Spot here. There we go. Really impressed with how well it came back and how well this stuff worked. I mean, like I said, I pretty much used the whole bottle, but it works. And the compounding, I used that. It's just got a more random pattern to it. You know, it kind of goes all over, whereas these are a circular motion. I did buff it after I did the first compound. I went through and buffed the whole thing with that, and, or no, with that. I buffed off, or yeah, I guess you say buffed off the wax with that in these woolly cloths. You can see how much paint is coming off. These have actually been washed in the washer. You can see those over there. They're actually inside out, how red they are. You know, I went through all these the first day and washed and dried them so I could reuse them. They just had so much paint on them. And then, like I said, I buffed it with this one after doing the compound. Just kind of went, or after I did the wax, yeah, after I did the compound, I went through and just kind of buffed it all, make sure I got all the compound off. And then went through, waxed it, and used that one to buff the wax off. I hand waxed it, or hand applied it, just because it was that cleaner wax and it's a paste, and it's just easier to use that applicator and do it. So now we're at the waxing stage. It should go fairly quickly since I did get a liquid paste wax, or liquid wax I mean, and we'll use a clean terry cloth on that one. We'll go through, we'll apply it, and then we'll put a clean cloth on that one, and we'll buff it off with that. So the waxing should go fairly quickly. You can cover a lot of area quickly with these, and it does a really good job on it. So we'll see what it looks like. I don't know if it'll shine anymore with wax or not, or if the compound, you know, shine it up about as much as it'll shine up, but we'll see. All right, we are done. I got the coat of wax on, applied with the little orbital one, and then took it off with the polisher. Switch pads in between because they get dirty, and you don't want to be smearing that stuff all around. So halfway through, switch pads. So you want to keep some extra pads. I think it came out, I think it's shining more than it was with just the compound. I think the wax did add a little more shine to it. It's hard to tell. Maybe in the video you'll actually be able to tell, and when I look back at the video I can tell, but to me it may have a little bit more of a shine to it. My main purpose though of putting the wax on it was just to protect the paint, and now that we've got most of the oxidation off, like I said, the hood is kind of I don't know if I can get it all off or not, but it's about as good as we're going to get it, and hopefully this wax will keep it from oxidizing again. We'll try to reapply it every so often and just keep it, try to keep this paint looking nice. You know, it's scratched, it's dinged, it's rust, it's got all that stuff on it, but at least now the good parts on it shine and it looks good. So I think it looks great. It looks a whole lot better than it did. You can look in the bed and see just how dull the paint was. It's almost like it's even a different shade of red, you know, or it looks a different shade of red. It was more of a pale, well, I say pale, it's more of it looks more darker now. It's more of like a candy apple red. It's a real pretty red. It looked just like a darker red with the oxidation. So that's where we're going to leave it for today. I've got some, you know, work to do getting wax and stuff off that's, you know, gotten on it, different spots, the trim, all that kind of stuff. So I'll do all that, probably wash it another day and kind of help get all that stuff off of it. But for now, we are done. So thanks for watching.